Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Vasavvi Acharjya from Early Child Development Forum, and today we are here with a very, very interesting topic, which is identifying and addressing mental health need in children. So today we have with us two speakers, Ayesha Khawar and Tanya. Ayesha has joined us from UK, and she is a trainee clinical psychologist with certification in behavior therapy from BACB USA. She has expertise in acceptance and commitment ACT therapy. She is working on building collaboration and creating mental health awareness across the globe. Welcome, Ayesha.
Thank you.
And we have with us here Tanya Batra. Tanya is a RCI registered special educator, a consultant, child counselor. She's an expressive art therapy practitioner and certified play therapist. Hello, Tanya. Welcome on the forum. And today we're supposed to have Simriti Singh, but due to a personal emergency, she was not able to join us. So let us go ahead with our discussion. First of all, I would want to ask very quickly, you can answer a question, which is, what, according to you, are mental needs and how are children affected? So first, I would like to ask Tanya.
Yeah. So when we talk about the mental health, well-being, or I talk about the term mental health, it is basically a cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being, and it affects how the people think, how the people take decisions, how they feel, and how they behave. So, and as the topic is related with addressing the mental health needs in children, so this is a very important domain that whenever we are catering to the mental health needs or we are conducting some mental health activities, we are talking about mental health. It's not only about the mental health of an adult, but also for children, which should not be ignored. Like with this terminology, I remember the scene of Dear Zindagi in which Alia Bhatt was playing the role of Kyra, and it was shown in that movie that when she was of 6 years old, she was separated from her family members, separated from her parents, and how it was affecting her mental health. But as soon as she started adjusting with her grandfather, but slowly and gradually again, she got separated from her grandfather, and it was again a big trauma for her. And later on, it affected her adulthood, it affected her later stages of life. So if we are not catering to the mental health needs of the child in the early stages, it is definitely going to affect the decision making power. It is going to affect the social skills of the child in their later stages. So we know that we go through certain ups and downs, but we have that, the capability to share, to express, to manage our emotions. But sometimes, yes, definitely we need mental health counseling sessions. But again, if we think about children, we think about toddlers, we think about adolescents, they are not able to express their emotions specifically in words. So this is very much necessary that we are focusing on their mental health, which helps them in this decision making. And when we are addressing their mental health needs, it is definitely helping in their overall development, in their studies, in their social skills, in their communication skills, and it helps in holistic development. So this is my perspective about mental health needs for children and why it is necessary to address those needs.
Thank you so much, Tanya. And now I would ask the same question to Ayesha. Ayesha, over to you.
Okay, when we talk about mental health needs, the idea of what mental health needs are vary from individual to individual. And there are a couple of theories which have been proposed regarding what universal needs are of individuals. One of the theory which I really like is the basic needs and satisfaction theory by Dacey and Ryan. And they say that there are three basic individual universal needs. The first one is competence, autonomy, and relatedness. They say that each individual, in order to thrive in the environment, they need this. Competence would be the ability to gain skills, knowledge, to have that to have that need fulfilled. The second one would be autonomy. to feel independent enough to do whatever you aim for. And the third one is relatedness. Relatedness is that the ability to feel belonged, like you belong to you belong to a tribe, you belong to someone, you feel like you are loved. So interaction of all these three is what they say is described as, you know, mental health needs, what I understand. However, it varies from individual to individual and how parents perceive it. So this is briefly what mental health needs I understand are, but it varies again from person to person. And at the end of the day, I think it's very important that you understand what your child's needs are, and instead of being reactive towards them and thinking or being dismissive about them, that, you know, this child is demanding a lot, or describing or defining that according to your own understanding of what actually a need should be or should look like. We should not dismiss what a child feels, such as being like, if a child wants to talk to you more than 1 hour or something, and you are like, this child is always asking for attention, I'm done, I don't want that. So I think we need to understand that, and that's my understanding. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very well said, both Tanya and Ayesha. Mental health is basically, you know, how we interact with the children so that they develop into individuals who are mentally healthy, in the sense that they have a support system, they have the enthusiasm, and they have actually elders or parents or educators who are, you know, accepting their behavior as they are and trying to help them in circumstances where they need help. Now, I'm coming to the individual questions, which is, first, my question would go to Tanya. And Tanya, my question for you is, what are the first signs to observe in children with learning gaps?
Okay, so I would like to divide this particular question into two halves. In initial part, I would be discussing the general signs of mental health challenges you will observe in most of the students and all the children. Okay, and then second half will be, I will be talking about learning disabilities and what all mental health challenges, signs you will observe in children having learning disabilities. So coming back to the initial part of the question, if I talk about mental health signs in children belonging to early childhood and middle childhood, which is the age group of 3 years to 8 years, you will be observing that they are showing repeated tantrums, they are behaving in a very aggressive way, there seems to be very unhappy and sad, they are isolating, they are showing some very destructive behaviors, age appropriate behaviors are not being shown by them, they are having some eating issues, their eating habits has been disturbed, and their sleeping issues are also there. Either they might be sleeping a lot or they might be sleeping very less. Okay, so they would be complaining about the frequent pains like frequent headaches, stomach ache, some other physical pains, and it might be also possible they are not progressing well in the school as compared to their previous results, and having issues in the school, not able to adjust into new situations with their friends, not opening up well. Communication issues are there. Again, the child is thinking so much while speaking, not responding to the instructions, and means the child is not present at the moment. You will find that. Okay, so whenever you want to get to know, if you want to, the basic thing is that we get to know the child is having some mental issue, mental health concern, it would be clearly depicted in their behaviors. Okay, they will not say that I am feeling upset, I'm feeling sad. They will show that in their behaviors. So it is very much necessary to find out the reason why they are behaving in such a way, and then definitely we will get to know what's affecting them. Now, when I talk about mental health signs in later childhood and in adolescence, which is from 9 years onwards, so in this, you will observe that the child has lost interest in the things, in the activities which they used to enjoy before, have low energy, sleeping too much again, or not sleeping throughout the day, then spending more time in destructive behavior, spending more time alone or only on the phone, only on any gadget, not interacting with the society, not interacting with the family members, excessive eating, excessive diet and exercises, or even opposite, not eating anything at all. Then engaging in self-harm behaviors, not scared, not scared, afraid of the consequences. Okay, then involving themselves into some, again, like smoking, drinking habits, use of drugs, having suicidal thoughts. Whenever you're communicating with the child, you will feel like he's always moving in the negative direction, talking about deaths and talking about the negative situations, having poor self-esteem. You will observe that the activities in which the child was so confident, now the child is not able to perform with that confidence, and then is withdrawn and unable to talk about their own experiences and feelings. So these were the signs you will observe if the child is having any mental health issues in the age of in the later childhood or in adolescence. Now, let me come back to the second part. As I mentioned, that I will be discussing about mental health needs, mental health challenges in children with learning disabilities. So, just a definition, just a small introduction about learning disability. What it is basically a neurological condition which is affecting the child's ability to read, write, spell, learn, memorize, comprehend. Okay, so basically the child is facing lots of academic issues. Now, when we talk about children with learning disabilities, definitely they are having certain mental health concerns, mental health issues already, because of they are having school anxiety. They would not be ready to go to school because they feel I will not be able to perform so well. They would be having maths anxiety in the case of if the child is having dyscalculia. The child would be scared with the math sums and problems. Then the child might be having poor sleep because again the child is having that the child is scared that next day I have to go to school again, those so many content in front of me. How will I respond? How will I read? All my friends are going responding so well. I'm not able to do that. I'm always behind. So this is one case. Another case is mental health is affected in the case of children having learning disabilities when they are not diagnosed properly, or when there is no early diagnosis. Okay, if diagnoses are delayed, interventions will be delayed, because of which it will affect the mental health of the child, because from the point when the diagnosis was not done, till that point the child was struggling with himself, with his own thoughts, and there were no facilities and interventions were provided. As here again I would like to quote an example of, if you have seen the movie Tare Zameen Par, about Ishan Awasthi. Before sending the child, um, after sending the child to the hostel, if you remember, before that, how the parents were behaving with the child, teachers were behaving, so teachers' remarks, behaviors, parents' behaviors, it was affecting his mental health a lot, because they were not understanding the child is having an issue, the child is having disability. They were not able to provide those intervention and strategies, right? But later on, when the child got diagnosed, his disability came in front, proper strategies were provided, proper interventions were provided, and yes, it definitely helped the child in all the areas. So this how also the mental health challenge, children with disabilities, learning disabilities go through mental health challenges, and if they are not diagnosed, then again it's a worse scenario. So this was all about the science.
Thank you, Tanya. You very well explained the science and how parents or educators can identify them. Now I'd come to Ayesha with a question, which is like, we live in a digital world, and every child is getting digital in one way or the other. And that is also kind of, lessening children's focus. And, they are kind of very, very diverted in certain ways and stuff. So parents and even educators have been identifying these differences that has happened even during the pandemic when children were learning online. So what is your take on how we can improve parenting in digital world, bearing in mind the needs of the children? Over to you, Ayesha.
Okay, thank you so much for this question. What I understand is that we are in the era of digitalization where, there is this drastic need where everyone is shifting towards internet, like Googling things rather than referring to books, like preferring video chats or video calls over meeting in person. So I think, everything is changing. With that change, I think, a lot of parents are resisting that change. They are not able to understand how they need to adapt to that change, and they feel like, they have this stereotype, or they have this idea in their mind that, this internet use is very toxic, and they keep eliminating the possibility of what better it could get to the child, like how useful it could, or how instrumental it can be for a child's education. What I understand is like there have been researchers which just keep saying internet addiction, internet addiction, internet addiction. They just fail to cater to what is the positive side of using internet, what is the positive side of using smartphone. Like there is a possibility that with parental control you can let your child learn a lot of new skills like coding and all those different activities, which is the huge demand of this era. They want children to be thriving in the digital world. What we do is that we are like, do not use phone. We think that children should not be given phone at all. If we think that this is going to this is going to form a solution to this problem of smartphone addiction or misuse of internet, I think this is a very wrong idea we have in our minds. We need to give the same thing. We need to make the child feel autonomous enough to use, but they know that we give them so much. We know that they belong to us in a way, like, we will give them that sense of love, that they can, in case something wrong happens, they can come and refer to us, be like friends to them. So what I understand is that we even need to understand how things are changing, indulge ourselves in internet use as well, see what is the side effect or what positive it can bring. Play with your child. If your child is like, I want to play video games, sit with the child and try to, build your bond over games. Try to build, like, use the internet with them. If you feel like, okay, I am just concerned about the internet uses, just see what your child does by being a friend. So I think maybe if we do this, and another thing is, like, there is a concept called conscious parenting. Parents should not think that in their times what their parents did is applicable in these times, where the children have to be dealt in the same manner. If they were strict with us, and we were able to absorb that or understand that, it's not going to be similar in the same generation. The same generation might revolt against that you're being really hard with us and harsh with us. So there's this kind of conscious parenting that we should adopt. We should be aware that our children are not us, mini us. They're not our failed aspirations, failed egos, or something like our failed dreams. They're not going to fulfill that. They have their own set of dreams. They have their own aspirations. So let them just pursue, and you're just there to support them and be there for them. So that's my understanding, and that's how I feel, parenting could modify themselves, like parents could modify themselves in the demand of this era.
Absolutely to the point, Ayesha. And it's like, basically, we cannot now really get into helicopter parenting, where we are just on top of our child trying to dictate and trying to get our ways through them. So this is not absolutely done. And nowadays, yeah, like you said, children are very rebellious. So if we try to do that, probably we end up, having rebels in our family. So my next question to Tanya is, how can educators, because Tanya is basically addressing children with special needs, and Ayesha is addressing every child, be it special or regular, how we need to deal with them. So how can educators, to some extent parents, access and cater to the needs of children with learning gaps, now that we are able to identify? So what are we going to do in order to cater to their needs? Over to you, Tanya.
Okay, so when we talk about after identification, now if I say, like, we have to address the mental health needs of all the children, not only for the children with learning disabilities, but for the all children. So first, initially, I would like to talk about how can parents address to the mental health needs of their children. So here I would like to say that by spending some quality time with your children, will definitely help them. In the sense, the quality time means whenever you are sitting with your child, stay away from all the gadgets. Keep your phone aside so that your child is also getting the message that I don't have to sit with my phone with me whenever I'm communicating. That would be a quality time, spending quality time with your children, and the same message your child will be getting. Then maintaining some routines, which can be again flexible. So here I want to say that if you're planning a schedule, that you're planning to do some activities, some very value-based things or exercises in your daily routine, so it should be also choice-based, that the child is getting choices, and it should be flexible. That if one day the child is skipping it, it's perfectly fine. It's all right. As Ayesha also mentioned, that we don't have to be strict, right? Then regularly asking your child how they are feeling, about asking about their emotions. Like if we talk about shift from this moment of this pandemic, okay, now each one of us were having some of the other emotions related to this pandemic. So if we can directly communicate with the child that how the child is feeling, he is watching so many things, he is listening to the news, he is watching so many negative things, listening, getting those information, and again, so how his take on all this. Okay, it will definitely help. Like if the child is comfortable, again, don't force the child to talk to you. Be give him the option, give him the choice to be free. And whenever the child is feeling comfortable, he can come to the parent anytime for the communication, for the conversation. Okay, then speaking with your child's school or child's care center according to the age of the child. Be in touch with the teachers, with the special educators, with the counselor, related to the behavior, any small behavior observed in the child. Try to find out the reason. Something change in the environment also lead to so many changes, so many behavioral changes. So have focus upon the environmental changes, any small behaviors, find out the reason and help your child in that. Then comes very important point, praising the small efforts. Even your child is helping in your day-to-day task, in your household tasks, in the kitchen accessories, or in the kitchen tasks, in cleaning the home. If even the efforts are small, praise that. The child will feel good, the child will feel appreciated. Then accepting any kind of learning difficulty, any kind of disability, very much necessary. If you will keep on ignoring, if you're ignoring the the needs, the concerns of the child, again it is going to affect his mental health, because the child is aware that I'm not able to do this. And if you're also accepting it, if you're providing appropriate interventions, working with appropriate strategies, providing those adaptations to the child will feel in a comfort zone, that yes, I am accepted the way I am. Nobody is changing me. I have to, I will grow the way I am. Okay. Then taking regular guidance from the clinical psychologist, from the child counselor, and in case of any academic issues, if you're observing in your child, then definitely be in touch with the special educator. Now, some of the mental health tips, or how to address to the mental health needs of the children. For educators, I would like to say, conduct some self-awareness activities in your daily schedule. It hardly takes 5 minutes. Asking the child how they are feeling, did they had their proper lunch, proper meals, how was their Sunday, what they did, what's happening in their family, because it's also very much important. The child is coming school from home, and if the home environment is also not suitable, is not good, the child will not be able to pay attention in the studies. So before proceeding with the concept explanation, ask about the child, about their emotions, give them chance, give them options to share what however they feel. Like just one small example I would like to add on here. Like if you're giving the choice, if you're asking something from the child, allow the child, give the choice to even write it down. Not necessary that everyone has to speak, because I am also a type of an introvert girl. I know if I'm more comfortable in writing and then submitting to the teacher instead of speaking in the entire class, right? So give that proper choices, how the child will feel comfortable in answering, in telling me about their emotions. Okay. So, and yes, last important point, for catering to the individual needs in the classroom, inculcating UDL in while teaching with this universal design for learning. It will help in catering to the diverse needs of the learner using different strategies, using different form of explanation, engagement in the classroom will help in catering to all the needs and help in catering to all the mental health needs of the child. So that's it for my part.
Thank you, Tanya. That's well explained how we can really cater to the mental needs of the child. And my last question to Ayesha. Ayesha, how do you think we can create a congenial environment for our young children?
I think environment is always set within yourself as well. As a person, if my inner state is not fine, there is a huge possibility that I'm going to create mess outside in a way. So what I understand is that, parents should focus on their own selves as well, not like the parenting itself. I've come across people who tell me that my parents used to keep fighting, like my father was not a good father, but my father was not a good husband, but he was a good father. So, and they would have a set of traumas with them. They would have trust issues. They would have a whole set of burden or the baggage that they carry, emotional baggage that they carry. So what I understand that as a parent, it's a huge responsibility that you know yourself too. You understand your emotional state, you understand your thoughts, you understand what you want. Why do you want to be a parent? Do you want to fuel that need of being loved, like you having a child for the sake of society or for your own? What is the purpose of being a parent? Or do you want to be God's hand of raising a child? What is the purpose of that? So what I understand is that parenting is a huge responsibility, and if we want to, in this era, if we want to like fulfill the needs whatsoever, we need to focus our own selves too. And as mothers in our culture, what I've seen, the mothers just are so sacrificing so much into their children that they forget that they have their own lives. Like even as professionals, even as them, if as their own, they don't spend time with their own selves. I don't find themselves getting ready and going out to with their own selves with their friends. They would be like, oh, I would rather spend time with my child. And I'd be like, you have your own life, just go ahead. So what I understand is that we are going to model them in our later stages. So what I understand that once how you behave in this stage is your child going to copy you in the later stages. So we have to be a very good model, like try to improve ourselves every day, have a growth mindset that um, we can change, our children can change, and every day it's a good day. Like rather than praising a child for getting 100 out of 100 or maybe 90 out of 100, we should praise their efforts. I love the way you studied, I love the way you did this, I love the way you did that. So I think we should be, this is what growth mindset is all about, focusing on the efforts rather than the outcome. We should always praise the process rather than the outcome. And that's how our children are able to understand that it's the process they should put effort in, not the goal itself. Like what if they failure? This is why we have difficulty in accepting failure. We don't care about the process. Even if we have to go through like 1,000 steps, we don't mind that. But if we fail to find the outcome, we will feel terrible about it. So what I understand is that we should focus on the process, and then the outcome would follow. Even if whatever it is, if we have that mindset, we will know we can try again. We have not failed as a person. We are there. We are strong enough to try again. So that's my understanding. And then yes, parents should try to understand the concept of quality time. Quality time is not what you think is quality time as a parent. It should be what a child thinks. If a child likes baking and you find baking terrible and you dislike baking, just try to be there with your child and try to put yourself there. Like, because at the end of the day, quality time is what is defined by the child, not you. So I think these are like couple of strategies which you can do. The way you said about Tanya said about the emotions and how you could promote that. Not, and yes, at the end of the day, I think reality is varies from individual to individual. It is constructed. There is no ultimate or universal truth about what a reality looks like. For you it could be 6, for me it could be 9, standing where it's a perspective where I'm standing from and I'm looking at. So I think we should, as a parent or as a parent or educator, as a teacher, we need to try to get down to the shoes of the child and understand where they are and where is it coming from. Yes, and that's what we call empathy, and that's the highest form of intelligence, I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayesha. Very, very well said. And I think I completely agree to all the points that both of the panelists have spoken today. And I feel that these are very important ways in which we can improve the mental health of children right from the start. And as parents, we need to change our outlook. We need to change certain ways, certain behavior of ours, instead of trying to change our children, and maybe kind of adapt to the new generation that is there, who has a different set of needs entirely. And we need to be more connected to, people who actually understand children in terms of the psychologists or the counselors, so that from time to time we get to know what our child is thinking. Even we need to know about child psychology. So we often need these kind of sessions, having which addresses these issues more than the academic or general performance of children. And I think today's session was worth the while, and all our viewers would have a lot of takeaways from here, and parents especially will get a few cues on how to help their children have better mental health in these years and in the years to come. So thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you so much, Ayesha, for joining me today. And it was a great session. And thank you once again for being there. And ECDF is coming up with other events. We will to stay posted. Follow us in our Facebook page, which is ECD Forum, and you'll get to know all the updates, all the programs that events that are lined up. Thank you so much, and we'll wind up for today.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.